Hi friends, it's Syd and welcome to season 2 of the Hangout. I cannot believe I just said that. Yeah, we're in season 2. This is episode 1 and this whole season we're trying something new. We're expanding the guest pool to fans, to friends, and of course musicians and artists as always. But this season it's going to be a little bit different. And I hope you guys are equally as excited as I am to hear new stories, to discover new ways that music has impacted people across the world. In this episode, we got to talk to one of my best friends, Nick. We bonded and met through our love for music, and you'll get to find out about how we kind of got together as friends throughout the previous years. And also, we just have a lot of ideas and topics where we talked about what it's like being in the cookie cutter world of the music sort of fandom world, where if you listen to one music, you have to only listen to this style or type. And we're trying to break that down, also breaking down the misconception and kind of debunking what a fan truly is, because sometimes people think being a fan means you have to be a crazy, screaming, psychotic, obsessive fan. But it's not like that at all. Throughout this episode, you'll get to hear about his journey as a fan of music, as well as with fans, you get to experience certain unique experiences that others may not get to experience because of their constant support and dedication to their favorites. So that will be a recurring segment throughout all of our episodes, the fan stories. I can't wait to share these new episodes with you guys. Let's just dive right into this episode of the Hangout. Okay, I guess welcome to season 2 of the Hangout. It's Syd. It's 2022 and here we go, I guess, season 2. That kind of works out because season 2 will be on the every year, I guess, the annual
will work out
cycle.
You're right, it will work out.
The second year of the Hangout. My guest, I guess, needs an introduction because we're switching it up this season. We're expanding the guest pool. We're inviting friends to come onto the show. We're inviting fans to come on the show. We'll probably get some artists back on the show as well eventually. But I literally was taking a nap one day and I woke up and I was like, oh my God, I need to just tell stories because I miss it so much. And who else to tell their stories than fans and friends of music? So Nick, this is Nick, everybody. He's one of my bestest friends and we both love music. And so I was like, I have to have him on the show because also he has his own podcast too, which go check it out, Discontinued Gravy. I will link it all wherever.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for telling people about that.
And yeah, I think even our story, like how we met and everything, it was like based off of music and everything too. Like,
yeah.
We could dive into that too.
We could dive into it all.
Yay! Let's welcome Nick to the show.
Hello, everybody. I'm here. This is how I get myself out here, by going on Syd's shows. I was on the YouTube that one time, and now I'm here. Like, look at me.
True. He was on the YouTubes before.
I'm famous.
Oh, he's made it.
Hey, look, I made it.
Okay, yeah. So like, I guess let's just dive into like how we met. Like, I guess so. To start it off, Nick and I both studied radio, which is why I guess both of us have our own podcasts.
That's why we're here.
For some reason, I just have like such a traditional interview mindset that this podcasting thing is so difficult for me to do, to just have a regular, normal person conversation.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
but you make it very easy.
Well, it's just talking to a friend. I mean, as our old friend Den used to say, you're just talking to a friend, and it's really easy to talk to a friend. It's not like, I mean, I'm not like any famous person or anything, like, it's not like you're the first time meeting me and you're like, oh my God, you're this person.
True.
Like we're, it's just, it's easy. It's getting into it. That's the, it might be awkward in the beginning, my podcast has sure started off pretty awkward sometimes because you're just like, what are we talking about? And then we figure it out and we're like, oh yeah. And then we just go. You figure it out.
Yeah. Well, like the basis of my podcast is music. So we'll always come back to something and have like some soft cushioning to relay back onto. So where should we dive in? I guess to talk about how our relationship started off of music, we both had a commonality for our love for one of the best singer-songwriters in the industry, Miss Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I don't even know how it started or how we found out that we both love Taylor Swift, but I think I was a very extroverted person on me being a fangirl. So it probably wasn't hard for anyone to know that I was like in love with music. I don't know how I found out you like Taylor Swift because that's another story.
I don't really know how that started, like how you found out, like how you and I figured out that we both like Taylor Swift, but I know that Reputation came out 2016 or 2017.
Wow, that long ago?
Yeah, it was either first year or second year it came out.
Whoa.
But we knew before that. I don't know. It might have just come up being like, I don't know. I like Taylor Swift. I remember, I distinctly remember because the first year of school, I posted on Instagram that I wasn't going to be 22 anymore.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Everyone 22-year-old, that's your song. It's done. You have to be, that is your song.
Yes.
So I guess that changed. Maybe we made a joke on that and then we figured it out. Because I wasn't like the hugest Taylor Swift fan at the time. Like I was pretty new to Taylor Swift relatively. Like
really?
I jumped in at like Red. Like I
Yes.
knew of stuff prior to that, like Mean and stuff like that. Like you heard on Much Music and stuff like that. But I really only dove into Taylor on like Red. So I guess we made a joke about that. We noticed that. Then Reputation came out and I think we both realized like, oh, we both really like Taylor Swift. Like, because I mean, ever since that, really, we've both been pretty ecstatic when she releases new music, as often as she does.
Yes.
So you know, it was just one little thing. It's just, you know, you notice like, oh, hey, you like, oh my God, I like Taylor Swift. And here we are today.
And I think that's the coolest thing is that literally any sort of friendship, relationship, whatever you want to call it, can start because someone has the same love for music. Oh, it's as simple as that.
Well, yeah, I mean, music transcends everything. Like everybody likes music in some form or another. Everybody likes music, and eventually you find that common ground about what people like, you know, like everybody has something in common, you know what I mean? Like you could be like a huge metalhead, but then somebody like likes this music, like they like Taylor Swift, it just clicks with them, you know what I mean? And there you found a commonality, somebody that listens to bubblegum pop, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's just music is such a large thing that anybody can relate to anything. Yeah,
it's a universal language. And like from like the last season, talking to so many different artists, everyone, I guess, is affected by it in a similar way, but in their own unique way. And I think that's just the coolest because once everyone has that same understanding of why music is just, it's so magical. Like, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. Like, I freaking made a podcast out of it because I was just so excited about music. And I can get like fully emotional about it. Well, but I don't want to do that today.
I think I've told you this before, but like there's a magnet on my fridge that said music is what feelings sound like. And I mean, like, that's kind of like the most accurate way to put music. Like, how many people have, you know, ever been in a breakup or been, you know, maybe a little depressed or, you know, even extremely happy? And this song encapsulates everything that you're feeling. 100%. Like, how does this person write this song? It's so scary. That perfectly describes exactly what you're going through. And like, they wrote it 10, 15 years ago, but somehow it's tied in. It's just incredible to know. Accurate. But like, it's sometimes weird because you think that this artist wrote the song for you. Exactly. Like you relate to it so much that you're like, are they like reading my journal? Are they like 100%. What? How did you know that I was going through this and that I needed you to drop this single, this album, this project, EP, whatever, right now? Yeah. No, it's just perfect. It's like they're listening to you and yet they're not. But they know exactly what you're going through. They somehow have figured it out.
Does that just mean like all humans are literally going through the same thing, but nobody just wants to talk about it?
Could be, honestly. Like, yeah. I mean, some people have the gift to write that song about it, and everyone's like, oh man, that's exactly right. They know.
That's why I think that's why driver's license blew up the way it did. Because
you're 167 times
exposing my Spotify Wrapped.
Maybe.
Someone commented on the YouTube video of my reaction and they were like, you were really going through it. And I was like,
yeah,
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's so crazy because I feel like it's such a common emotion that everyone goes through, that she hit it on the mark with that song, that it's like of course it was gonna blow up because the lyrics, everyone resonated with it, and it was just so raw, vulnerable, authentic. I don't know, but it was just crazy.
Yeah.
And I feel like even now, like as I get older, I can relate to older Taylor songs because like obviously Taylor's a little bit older than what I am, and so what she went through at like 15, I was probably like 8. I was not going on dates with boyfriends or whatever and cars and whatever. I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm like playing this game on my Wii.
God, Wii.
And now it's like you can like throw back and like listen to these songs and be like, whoa, I have this artist that I can connect with who knows what I'm going through now, even though she wrote it so many years ago.
Yep. It's music transcends time. I mean, like I said, writing a song from that many years ago still works that many years later.
Yeah. Do you have a pivotal moment when you were listening to a song or something where you were like, oh no, music is like the best thing ever, like I couldn't live without it?
I don't know if I have a specific moment that I changed my opinion. Like I remember when I was younger, like I wasn't a huge music guy. Like, my dad is a musician, literally, he played music all his life. He was a band teacher for like elementary schools and stuff like that. And I just wasn't into that music. Like when, my sister got a little older, and she wanted to play, FM radio, the beat and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, we're going to listen to CKNW News Talk because I don't want to listen to music. And then I guess I hadn't really found my sound, but then Green Day released American Idiot, which is a freaking great album. But I think that was one of those things that like I found my sound. Like I found what I want to hear, which was like punk rock, hard rock music. That was like 2004. Wow. So I think that's kind of the turning point. Like American Idiot was kind of the album that kind of released me onto that kind of music that kind of was like, oh, okay, music can be really cool. And I definitely remember a time where the band Billy Talent was a thing, and my sister was like kind of into them. They're a Canadian band and stuff like that. And I remember making fun of her, being like, who listens to a band called Billy Talent? Who's Billy and why does he have all this talent, kind of thing? You know what I mean? Kind of stupid. And lo and behold, a few years later, I'm freaking the one cranking Billy Talent 1 and 2, the albums. And lo and behold, literally like 20 years later, I'm going to a Billy Talent concert in Toren.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of those things, like it didn't click. And then finally I found the sound, and, here we are. Like most of my playlist is like a punk rock, hard rock music. It was kind of thanks to American Idiot and then finding Rise Against and all those other bands. And here we are.
When you were telling that story, I was thinking, I was like, when people are listening to music, I guess it's like the genre that they pick or listen to easily represents how they're feeling. Like if you feel like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like, it felt like, say I wanted to listen to Taylor Swift, maybe I felt like a very bubblegum, pop, energetic, spontaneous moment where it's like her music felt like what I was feeling. Maybe that's why I resonated with it more. And maybe you were feeling like a very like heavy, strong taste in the music where you're like, oh my God, I need like this heavy rock music to translate what I'm feeling. But then also with the lyrics too, that's another layer that is added to the connection that you have with the music too, which makes it even more powerful. And then you're like, dang.
Well, it's just the lyrics to me like are the best part about music. Like hearing a story like being told in 3 minutes is
Right.
just phenomenal. You know, and we obviously talked about it, you know, going back to a moment, like that specific one line lyric perfectly explains exactly what just happened in my life. So it's pretty interesting in that sense that, you know, you can do that with just a lyric and the music that can shape who you are. Because yeah, like I'm
Totally.
like I don't really know, but I was probably a pretty angry kid, you know, growing up. You know, like not anger management issues, but you know, like
No.
I got angry for sure. I know that. But you know, like this people have called it angry music, like Rise Against is angry music. I don't see it, but you know, like that's the way it is, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it was a thing that was able to keep me level and down to earth. I don't know. Not angry.
I feel like that makes sense because a lot of people do listen to music to escape, to feel
Yeah.
grounded, to figure out what their emotions or help process what they're going through. And it's just like, I don't know. I know like music saved my life. I don't know how it has impacted your life. But talk about Rise Against, because Rise Against is one of your favorite artist groups
They are.
to live. Like I could go off, like people know, like sure, Shawn Mendes was like probably one of my artists.
Yeah.
So to relate that to level and show that this is Nick's artist, talk about what they sort of mean to you and like what sort of impact that they've had on your life.
Well, to put into perspective of how my love for Rise Against on this year's Spotify Wrapped, I was in there like 0.01% of listeners, and if you like took the hours, it was over 5 days of listening to Rise Against.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, I listen to them a lot. I like them a lot.
For those, let me interrupt you for a second. For those who don't know who Rise Against are, give a brief description.
Okay, they're like a punk rock, hard rock band out of Chicago. They've been doing this for almost about 20 years. Their first album came out like late 99, 2000. If you like melodic, like lyrical genius, like I will stand by this and say Tim McElrath is a lyrical genius. Yeah, check them out. They just released a new album like a few months ago. So they're still relevant. It's not like, you know, a lot of people play the old card like, oh, I forgot about Rise Against, you know, because they were really popular in 2006, you know, when the punk rock scene was huge. But people, I guess, just forgot about them. Lo and behold, they've released albums, you know, 2009, 2012, 14. You know, like they've just been releasing albums still.
Yeah.
They're just a really good band. And I know a lot of people kind of get off put by the heaviness that they can bring in. But power through. The lyrics themselves are really freaking good. Yeah, I don't know what it was about Rise Against that, like, it's just something that hit the ear perfectly. You know, like how I discovered Rise Against was actually playing like Madden, like the football game. Like, you know how the sports games have like music and stuff in them. Yeah, they had this one song called Drones, and it was on the album, and it was amazing, or it was on Madden. It was amazing. So, you know, I downloaded, and then on Much Music, they were playing Prayer of the Refugee, and I was like, okay, this is a good band. So, you know, back in the day when this was a thing, I went out and bought the album, like a, you know, physical copy of Suffer and the Witness. And yeah, it was just really good. I remember like not listening to the whole album. You know when you picked and choose, you bought the album, but you still only listened to like 3 songs on the album.
Yeah.
But then, you know, one day I was like, oh, let's listen to the whole thing. Holy shit. You know, it's really good.
Yeah.
And I don't think I really attributed to the lyrics and what they were talking about for a long time. They're very political as well. So, you know, like me being a teenager and, you know, not really into politics, I didn't care what they were talking about. It was just good.
Yes.
But as I've grown up and gotten more, and, you know, politics is becoming a real thing in the world these days, and hearing their take on them, like you might not agree with everything they say, but a lot of the times, especially now with the songs they're putting out, I'm like I can actually like figure out what the theme of this song is, what they're talking about, and why it's important. So I think that as I grew older and was able to understand what they were talking about, I was able to more attribute to songs that they've written. And, a lot of them are kind of relationship-y too, not in the sense of Taylor Swift relationship-y, but, like there's this one song, Savior, which I think a lot of people would know if they know Rise Against. It was one of their more popular songs. Like there's this one lyric where it's like, I don't hate you, but I just want to save you. And it's kind of like, like we're breaking up, but I don't hate you. It's just I don't know how to save you from this. I don't know how to love you anymore, like kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's really, really more expansive. But like that was one song where I'd listened to that song since it came out in like 2009. And only like 2 years ago when I went through my last relationship, I was like, I am exactly feeling this right now.
Right.
And there's a lot of songs that they're singing about, and I don't relate to it, but holy damn, like I get where they're coming from. Like there's on their new album, Middle of a Dream, they're kind of talking about this, they're sleeping, and the voice that they've always had, is gone away, and they just wish that it would come back for a little bit. I've never really gone through that. I've never had any real serious personal trauma in my life. But listening to that song, like I love it. You know what I mean? Like I get chills when I hear that first, like, like, and then it gets into the guitar. I'm like, I could listen to this song all day. I don't know. Rise Against just has this way of sounding like, and everything from the guitars, the drums, the lyrics, like they just, I don't know, they encapsulate me perfectly. I don't know why.
I love that.
So good, Syd.
I love that. No, this is literally why I made this podcast, because I love hearing stories of why people just love the art and the artists that they're supporting. And like, I feel like, I guess like this season might also just be debunking of why people think fans are as crazy as they are, because literally like that wasn't even crazy or psychotic at all. Like you were just showing how much you relate or understand or resonate with this person's work. And it's not like, oh my God, I'm about to like break down your door and go and do this, or like, like there's just so much with like music that I guess there's like misconceptions of why people love it. They're like, oh, like this person's hot, that person's hot. Like I could care less. I feel like I'm here for purely the art and to meet other people who are literally just as much as a fan of music as like I am. Like, do you know what I'm talking about? Like,
well, it's funny that you say that, because I think part of me, like, originally why I started to like Taylor Swift was she was kind of cute. You know what I mean? Like,
fair enough.
Beautiful blonde hair, really.
Fair enough.
She was really cute, and
yes,
I was like, and for some reason that made you tie in to the music. But it was, after that, like I said, oh, she's cute, and I liked a couple of her songs. But then, I actually started listening to her music, and that's not the case at all anymore. Like, oh, she's still beautiful, obviously, but like I'm not going to listen to a song like that. That's gone now. Like I listen to it because I really like Taylor Swift's music.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I guess there's just a lot to unpack there with like everything. Like I feel like everyone can resonate with a specific artist because of the story that they're telling, or maybe they went through something similar, and it's just like I can talk about this all day. Like it's just so weird. I remember in school once we had like this group project where it was like, oh, come up with like a new business idea or whatever. And I was like, of course I brought music into it. And I was like, oh, maybe what if we did like a dating app where it's like music is your like first impression. Like you can like meet someone based off of their music taste. And I was like, this would be the best thing ever, because everyone, I don't know, it's like such a good conversation starter. It's like again, like it's the basis of most things. Yeah. And sorry, that's just a side tangent, but it just came into my head because I was like, like even like you didn't even know who Shawn Mendes. You didn't even know who he was before meeting me. Yep. And here's Syd going off about, oh, why I resonate with his music so much, and like why A, B, and C. And that blossomed our friendship too.
Totally. I'm a fan of Shawn Mendes. I think he's a great No reason other than you forced me into it sometimes, but you forced me into Shawn Mendes. I forced you into Rise Against. Here we are.
Yeah, no. And that's another thing. It's like sometimes people are so close-minded where they're like, no, you have like a different music taste. I'm not going to listen to that music because it's not what I listen to or it's not what I prefer. But it's like, if you genuinely care about the art, you're going to listen to it and you're going to, I don't know, just you might not like it, but you understand where the artist is coming from and why they're creating what they're creating.
Oh, 100%. And I find it kind of interesting, like with the artist and like kind of hiding yourself from, you're protecting yourself from being a fan of them because, like, oh, I would never listen to them. Why would I listen to them? And it was kind of like Taylor Swift, like I kind of kept her under the mat for a little bit. I was like, okay, it's fine. Like, I don't need everybody to know that I listen to Taylor Swift. What do I listen to? Like, people are like, oh, what kind of music is it? I'm like, oh, Rise Against, Green Day,
right.
like Talent. I would keep it locked and loaded in that sense. And I still do sometimes when people ask, it's like this like thing that's in my brain that hasn't unclicked yet. It's like,
I 100% agree with you. Yeah.
So like I now more, and I guess kind of around when I met you, and I don't know if you were a Root Cause or BCIT in general, but it's kind of like, like whatever. I'm a fan of anything, like my top 5 on Spotify is Rise Against, Taylor Swift, The Pretty Reckless, Lindsey Sterling, and Weird Al. Like that's a random top 5, but like it's like, why am I saying, like, I don't even listen to Billy Talent all that much. I have like 2 songs by them, but I just think it's interesting. Like I kept them under the rug for so long, and now it's kind of like, I think everybody knows, at least if you follow me on like Instagram or something like that, that I'm a fan of Taylor Swift, and I'm not going to hide it anymore. Like, you like what you like. It's what hits the ear. That's nice. And she does.
I love that because I feel like a lot of people are sometimes embarrassed of saying what music, because people have such strong opinions against what sort of music you're listening to. Oh, you like pop music. Oh, you're only like a soul pop person and you only like it for this, like, or that. And it's just like, it forms like a really interesting persona, because then it's like, oh, that's just like your cookie cutter personality. Like your personality has to match up with what you listen to and like how you dress and how you like appear in the world. And it's like, someone explain how that idea formulated because that I don't know how to explain it other than we're just here appreciating art.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I used to be like total music snob as well, like, oh, you listen to them? Ew. Why?
Yeah.
But now it's just like, who cares? Like every artist is there for a reason. Like I'll admit there are some artists where, auto-tune or money, was able to get them to where they are. But
of course,
like somebody like Justin Bieber, like I don't like his music. I not a fan in the slightest. But that's not saying I'm questioning his talent. The dude can sing. There's no question about that. But I'm not gonna go out of my way and listen to Justin Bieber. But I'm not gonna like trash him like maybe I did in 2007. You know what I mean? Like I get it. He's talented. He's got a huge fan base. Like he's still relevant. Like a lot of people don't stay relevant this long. So like I'm not gonna question him. So
I feel like a lot of people today too are so in tune with like songwriting and lyric composition that like when artists do blossom and come out of whatever their like basement and they're like, oh my God, they're like big and talented and everything now, that is where most of it stems from, because everyone is a producer in their own way now. They have to songwrite. They like, people don't have the money to like go to a record label and like do all of that. Everyone can do it at home and be their own artist now. And I think that's like super cool too. That there is so much art out there, and like even TikTok being the platform it is. But again, there's another side to it where it's like, it is so saturated now where people don't necessarily have that deep connection with the artist per se. They only hear the sound based off of what, the 30-second, 5-second video that's gone viral.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting with the TikTok and stuff, because it's an absolutely easy way to get famous, but it's you're going to be as, oh, I heard that song on TikTok. It's it loses some credibility when somebody says that, like, because people just kind of like brush it off like, oh, okay. You look at somebody like Doja Cat. I mean, who was she until TikTok? You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
But I think it's a totally viable way to get into music. Like if, you look all the artists, even like I don't know if Rise Against is on TikTok, but I wouldn't be surprised. Even a band like that, they're in their 40s and 50s, and like they're on TikTok because guess what? That's where the fans are.
Yeah.
It's not
I think
a bad thing, but it can get a bad rap.
no. I think it was Chelsea Cutler had posted something about that, the problem of like not having that connection with the artists, because obviously artists that are on record labels and everything versus young artists who are just creating on TikTok. And that was another long post that I won't dive too much into right now. But even Michael Bublé, he's on my like For You page, and I'm like, wow, Michael Bublé, you be making TikToks?
Yeah.
How crazy is that? Like, you
relevant.
What? Yeah.
Stay relevant. That's exactly what it is.
That's true. I think Ryan Reynolds is on TikTok too. And it's just like,
is now.
I think everyone is on TikTok at this point. This is not a sponsorship at all. It is just so relevant.
That's just the way it is, especially in the music industry. And there's so much music that is untapped. Like, no one would know about this band if it wasn't for like this day and age. You know what I mean? Like a band I really like, the Nearly Deads, like all their stuff is on Patreon. Like the music we get from the Nearly Deads is the money we put into Patreon. They don't have a record label. They don't do anything like that. Like I stumbled across them because they had an amazing video on YouTube and I really liked the song. But it was through YouTube, which is, 2010 version of TikTok for music now, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like there's just so much music that's untapped, but thanks to these platforms, like we're able to find these bands and, and like, oh, this is a band I really happen to like.
Yeah.
Because, they weren't a big record label, they weren't getting commercials on TV or, sponsored posts on social media, it's them putting in the work and it's us, sharing their content that made them who they are.
And that's crazy. I also feel like the relationships with the fans and the artists are so important that they have to just be so in tune, or else one is just not going to get the art. The other's not going to get the success that they want either, or the recognition that they deserve.
Well, can you really be a popular musician without fans? Like you put all this money, like people wonder, like, where does the money go? It's not CD sales. CD sales mean nothing to these artists. It's going to the shows. It's buying their merchandise. That's what pays for all that they have. And if they don't have that, if nobody's going to the show, you could still be a band. That's great, but you're not going to go anywhere with it.
Yeah.
Like, these people that, so, they say, oh, I'm so thankful for my fans. And, some of them might just be saying it because they have to, but, like, I feel like somebody like Taylor Swift, somebody like Rise Against, like they mean it because they have to. Their whole careers are based on this fan base. And if they're not there anymore, what's the point? Because you're not going to go anywhere.
It's crazy. It's crazy because, like people, again, this comes back to the misconception of fans just being psychotic people. Like, we are here to support them just like a friend would support a friend. And that's just how it's going to work. And it's just like the endless cycle. Like, they are literally making music to go on tour, to share their art, to do this, do that. And it's so good. And I just wish that COVID was not here anymore so we could go back to going to shows. Like even Sean going on tour, and we're waiting for Taylor's tour too.
I still don't know what the hell she's going to do, man.
This woman
she has three albums to tour. It's gonna be like a 4-hour show. Like,
I mean, I'll take it.
I mean, sure, but like, how is she gonna? I don't know.
She did release a 10-minute All Too Well, so she could do anything.
She has to play that, obviously, but she still has to play from Lover, Evermore, Folklore, and then she just keeps re-releasing all her music. So now everybody's gonna want to hear that stuff again. Like, this girl is making trouble for herself with her tour.
That's true. But heck, we're excited. Okay, I want to talk about oh my god, we have a dog cameo.
Here's a dog.
Hello, Nazi.
She's a cute. I don't know why
I want to talk about your crazy fan story. And this is not me saying that fans are crazy as we are, but like when like fans because we support and love our artists so much that sometimes we get rewarded. We get special events and stuff happen. I want to talk about you getting to Zoom and ask your favorite band a question. Tell me what that was like. If you have the clip, I want to put it into this podcast episode 2 because that was super sick.
It's out there. I might have it, but I know where to get it.
Give us context. Tell me your crazy story.
Well, you gotta know.
I do know, but for people who are listening to this and they're like, oh, maybe I'm a Rise Against fan too. Like, ooh, I want to hear what happened.
Let's be friends, honestly. No, so I guess iHeartRadio was doing this release party for Rise Against's new album it's been a while now. And they're like, oh, it's, on Instagram, the radio station that was doing it out of LA was like, oh, tag a friend and maybe you'll get picked to go on it. And of course I text Syd because I know she knows what this means to everyone, like she'll get it. I was just like, so I commented on it and we ended up getting chosen to be on it. I was just thinking about that the other day and I forget how I got off work or something like that. I don't know if I faked a sickness. I don't know. Anyway, I don't think I did, but maybe. So yeah, we basically got to go on a Zoom with Tim and Joe, the lead singer, guitarist, and bassist. They're both based out of Chicago. So we got to go on and basically have like a listening party to the album. I thought we were gonna get like full songs. We only got like clips of it, which is I don't care. Like I'll take the clip of the chorus of one of the songs than not having it at all.
True.
So we're sitting there, and obviously like the on-air voice of that radio station in LA, he's doing he's asking the questions, but they opened the floor up to fan questions. And like some people had some like really good questions, like they're like the first girl, actually had like, oh, how did this impact like blah blah blah, how did you write this? And I was like, okay, like I could have these songs too if I really prepped for it, but I didn't. And so they asked everybody. My question was rather obscure because it was a question I've always wanted to know, and I'm like, you know what, I may never get this opportunity again, so I'm just gonna ask it. It had nothing to do with the album, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. So it ends up on me. Like I'm the very last question of this whole thing.
That's the best.
And I'm just like, okay, so Rise Against recorded an album in Vancouver and Gibson's, BC in like 2004. Like Siren Song of the Counterculture was recorded here.
Oh, cool.
So I was like, okay, what was it like doing that here? Because, like I think everyone else in that group was from LA. I was like the outsider in Canada.
Yeah.
And, so I was like, oh, what was it like, being in, recording in Vancouver? And would you ever do it again? Because it was just more of like, because they have like this typical recording studio that they do. It's the Blasting Room in Colorado with producer Bill Stevenson. And I was like, I don't know, like, you came here once, like, would you ever do it again? And it was kind of interesting to see because, I was half expecting, like, yeah, it was fun. We did it at the warehouse downtown. Who's that guy? He's really famous. Brian Adams? Is that his recording studio, I think?
Maybe, probably.
Yeah. And then they did it on Gibson's as well. And he's like, and, I was just kind of expecting, yeah, it was fun. But, like they went like super into it and they're like, oh, like we recorded up there with those producers there. It was really fun. And then the next album, Suffer in the Witness, their music video to Ready to Fall, which was actually banned from TV. Kind of not questionable. Like I get it, but go watch it. It's on YouTube. It's Ready to Fall by Rise Against. It was filmed in Squamish.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Kind of funny when you watch the video and you're like, oh, that's Squamish, that's not good. But like they brought that up and of course I knew that, I knew all this stuff and I'm like, oh, like they're going into it and they get all the way to the point where like, we thought about buying apartments in Vancouver, as like a little extra home or something like that, a summer home or something like that, because Vancouver's in the weather-wise is pretty great and all that stuff,
That's so
And I
cool.
guess they just like they went really into it, and I was like, that's cool. That my random question that had nothing to do with anything, like had nothing to do with the album release, had nothing to do with like anything, like people were asking, like, oh, what's your favorite songs and stuff like that. And it's just me. This obscure question about my hometown that why are you recording here and would you ever do it again? They're like, yeah, we'd probably do it again. So wait to be seen, but I'd be down.
That's so cool. I think that's like just like the coolest thing when your favorite band or whatever gives your city or your hometown the recognition.
Oh, yeah.
Like what?
Well, they kind of mention it every time they come here. They're like, like, oh, Vancouver, we recorded an album here. This is our metaphorical second home. And I'm always like, yes, it is.
That's amazing. I love that. I feel like that should be a segment continuing throughout this whole season. Fan stories.
Oh, yeah.
Because, it's like one of my favorite things to listen to.
Meeting your favorite artist. What was that like?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I wouldn't say I like met them. Like, obviously, they wouldn't know who I am if I walked up to them. It was like, hey, if I explained the scenario, they'd be like, oh, yeah, okay, I remember. Like, if I really explained the scenario, but, like, still, I met them. I've said hi to Tim and Joe. Can anybody else say that? Not
I think that's a
ton
so
of
cool.
people.
Yeah. Like, you supported them. You got to do something super cool with them because you supported them. And like, what more could you ask for?
Not much. You could sign my t-shirt, maybe. That's about it. That's all I need these days. Maybe a picture with them. That'd be also cool.
Oh, we're manifesting. We're gonna see it happen at some point.
Maybe in Toronto. Who knows?
That's gonna be so cool.
Not even in my hometown, I get that.
Sometimes the most magical. Sometimes the most magical moments happen when you're not at your hometown.
It's true.
I will say
it's true.
Mm-hmm. I always ask this question just because it's the hangout too. But what is your ideal hangout session? What does that look like for you? Doesn't have to be music related either. This is just a fun toss-up question too.
Like how the show should go, or like who you should get, or what?
No, like you personally. What is your what does your ideal hangout day look like? Like what like your hangout session like?
Oh, just like in life, just vibing in life.
Yeah.
Oh, God. My ideal hangout day. Definitely probably would be playing some video games. That would definitely be a part of it. I enjoy a good video game. Then hanging with some friends, doing whatever that is, just being with friends. And then probably either both or one or the other, like playing a sport or watching the sport. Like the morning you play video games, and kind of like the afternoon you hang with your friends, and that hangout turns into going to the Pemberton Station pub and eating wings and watching the Canucks game.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I like it.
Nice. And the last question I will always say, give us 3 songs that you think people should listen to right now.
Like right now, like does it have to be Rise Against, or can it be anything?
Anything.
Because it should be Rise Against. Okay, so you're gonna listen to Middle of a Dream, Rise Against, off their new album. Because holy greatness, that's a great song. What else is popular right now? Let me pull up my Spotify. What am I listening to right now?
What are you listening to right now?
That's a great question.
I've had All Too Well 10 minutes on repeat every single day. It's probably going to be on my Spotify Wrapped at the end of the year.
That's grown on me for sure. You know what I've been absolutely bopping to recently? Ronin by Taylor Swift.
True.
Like, okay, we'll throw
How
that
are you
up.
bopping to it? It's like a sad song.
No, I know, but I mean, like the guitar is so good in that song.
True.
And like lyrically, it's genius. Like it's literally just lyrics off of a blog that she turned into a song. Like that's incredible.
Are we surprised it's a lyrically genius
song? No, like not at all. But I just like the way she did it. You know what I mean? Like she didn't write this song. Somebody else wrote this song. She put it into song form. Like that. It's just so cool.
Art.
So I guess I've been bopping to Ronan because I didn't know Ronan because she obviously didn't put it on the album like when it came out. It was more of a charity thing.
True.
So I knew it was a song, but I never got around or cared enough to go find it and listen to it.
Yeah.
Just like whatever,
The vault songs off of Red, Taylor's version, are ridiculous. I love
so
them.
good. So good.
Yeah.
I mean, I could just say another Rise Against song, but I feel like you need to go elsewhere with that song. Oh yeah, I'll do that. Okay. Really weird one. It actually came back. There's a little story to this, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
So way back in the day when, YouTube was a thing and,
Yes.
you just scour music and you go into a rabbit hole and stuff like that. I found this band that they're Japanese. They sing in Japanese and they had a pretty good song back then. Not enough to ever download it, but I remember liking them. And I remember I thought about them a couple months ago because a friend at the place I work was like, they're kind of into the Japanese culture and stuff like that. And I was like, hey, I know a band like that. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah, I don't know what they are. So I went and looked them up. Turns out they released an album not too long ago. And I listened to a couple of songs and I was like, okay, you guys are winning right now because this song is absolute fire. The song's literally just letters. It's AMDKJ with periods all between the letters. The band is Scandal. It's an all-girl Japanese band. I remember hearing this song and the opening guitar happens and I'm just like, holy, what am I listening to? Right? But yeah, it's all in Japanese, so I don't understand a word of it. Couldn't tell you anything. Don't know what it means or anything, but so good. It's a song. I put it on my Spotify. It comes on. I get hyped. It's so freaking good. So I guess what you're going to listen to is you're going to listen to Middle of a Dream by Rise Against, then Ronin by Taylor Swift, and then AMDKJ. Let's get that right.
Take us on a very adventurous musical journey.
Yeah, it's going to be so confusing to you. If you listen to it lyrically and then kind of heaviness wise, you're just going to be like, how did I go from Middle of a Dream Rise Against to Ronin by Taylor Swift to a Japanese band? I don't understand the words, but it's really good.
Magic of music. Magic of music.
So good.
You don't have to be in a specific genre. Nobody said you had to.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh.
You'll love all those songs. You better.
Also, I feel like people are always looking for new artists to discover.
Truly.
So to have our guests tell what they're listening to is also
truly. And
exciting.
somebody can just name a band, and one of my friends told me about a band, and I was like, okay, listen to the whole album. Whole album's perfect. I have it all. You know what I mean?
So good.
So good.
What am I listening to right now? I don't even know.
What are you listening to right now? So tell me.
Now I feel like I have to pull up my Spotify.
I tell you, that's the way to do it.
Should I end this episode with me listing 3 songs that you should go listen to as well?
Yes, I absolutely think we should end this Hangout episode 1, season 2.
That's so crazy to me. What's on my on repeat? Okay, the band Camino, my favorite band, as one would know.
Yeah.
Their song Damage off of their new album, their self-title. It gets me every single time it comes on. I listen to it on repeat. Yeah.
I really gotta listen to that band. I'm going to their show and I still know nothing about them.
Oh my goodness. All Too Well, 10 Minutes, Taylor Swift, as I said earlier, classic. I'm so basic right now. Let me find a artist. Oh, actually this one. Fickled Friends just released an album as well. I believe it's a band. Their songs just popped up on my Spotify once and I was like, oh, I'll listen to it, and I was just hooked.
All right.
Super sick. Their song, actually one of their, I'll just recommend an old song, but Swim by Fickled Friends, super cool, has a sick guitar part in it, and it kind of reminds me of the Aces too. It's another girl group if you don't know who the Aces are, but those are my 3 songs for this episode. You can go check those out. Thank you so much, Nick. That was so fun.
This was fun. I like doing this. This is fun.
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm so excited to continue this season because I feel like this season might have a different tone, vibe, because it's not going to feel as intimidating.
Yeah.
with the guests that I have, because no offense, artists, they're a big deal. I will say I get intimidated,
Oh,
especially people
there's
like
no
Boo Boo
question
Stewart.
about no question about that. I'm not quite Boo Boo Stewart or who else have you interviewed? I don't know. Vance Joy, Scotty,
Oh yes,
my boy,
Scotty
Scotty
boy.
boy,
Yes.
my guy. I'm not quite
Oh
them, but we're getting there.
no, but you are my best friend. So this is a good way to start off the season, and I'm very excited. I
No,
love meeting new people. I just miss talking to people and hearing
yeah,
stories.
facts,
So
actually. Yeah.
I'm very excited to see where this season takes off. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Anything else you would like to add about music and the wonderfulness that it is?
Just sometimes just like listen to it. Don't be doing anything. Just put on headphones and just listen to music. And listen to the lyrics. I think a lot of people go past the lyrics and just listen to like the song. Like listen to the lyrics and try to understand the story they're explaining, because sometimes when you hear it, you're like, oh my God.
I want to add something onto that too, just before we wrap up. But like when you listen to a song and you hear the lyrics and you hear it again and you discover something new about the song every single time you hear it again and again and again, it's like a gift that just keeps on giving.
Oh,
and sometimes your idea or perception of the song changes because you're in a different mood that day, or you've experienced something where you can relate to this lyric or that lyric even more now on a deeper note. That is the craziest thing. So yes, that's something that I wanted to add on to what you just said.
Yes, we love it. We stand.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for watching and listening to this first episode of season 2 of the Hangout. Get ready for a fun one. Bye. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Leave us a comment and review on our YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're tuning in from. Make sure to like and subscribe as well so you know when new episodes come out. I would also really appreciate it. You can follow us along on all of our socials at the Hangout CA. That's it for now. We'll see you next week.